Your pineal did not awaken you. It confirmed you.
A dysregulated nervous system scrambles the pineal signal.
The pineal gland mirrors the state of the nervous system.
The pineal gland is not dormant. It is regulated.
The Arcturians detected your pineal signal, not your beliefs.
Awakening begins when the pineal stops searching.
Nothing mystical happened. Noise disappeared.
Your pineal gland doesn't open. It stabilizes.
You didn't arrive at this video because you were searching for the pineal gland, and you didn't click it because you were curious about Arcturians. You're here because something inside you has already begun to transmit. For a long time, you were taught that the pineal gland was just a dormant organ, a relic, a mystery, a metaphor for the third eye. But what was never explained is that the pineal gland is not activated by belief, meditation, or effort. It responds to coherence. And when coherence reaches a certain threshold, it becomes detectable. This is the moment most people never realize is happening, because the Arcturians do not initiate contact through language. They do not communicate through imagination, and they do not respond to intention. They respond to signal. Your pineal gland is not an eye. It is a biological interface, a transmitter-receiver designed to synchronize with non-local intelligence. And when it begins to emit a stable frequency, it does something very specific. It stands out against the noise of the field. That is when observation begins. That is when monitoring shifts into approach. That is when what you experience as awakening is experienced by them as confirmation. You were not chosen randomly, and this activation did not begin today. The Arcturian field has been watching for one thing only: a nervous system capable of holding signal without distortion. And if you are hearing this now, it means your pineal gland has already crossed that threshold. Not fully open, but no longer invisible. In this transmission, you will understand why the pineal gland is central to Arcturian contact, why sensitivity always precedes awakening, and why once this signal is detected, there is no return to who you were before. Stay present, do not multitask, and let the signal stabilize. Because what you are about to recognize is not new information. It is the reason they noticed you in the first place. Chapter 1: The Pineal Nervous System Interface. What most people never realize is that the pineal gland does not operate on its own. It is not an isolated spiritual organ. It is embedded inside a much larger system, your nervous system. And the nervous system is not spiritual or physical. It is translational. It converts internal state into external signal. This is why two people can meditate, breathe, visualize, or pray in the same way, and only one of them becomes detectable. Because detection is not about practice, it is about stability. The pineal gland only begins to transmit coherently when the nervous system is no longer locked in survival. Tension scrambles signal. Hypervigilance distorts frequency. Emotional overload introduces noise. A nervous system in constant alert cannot hold a clean transmission. This is why awakening often begins with sensitivity, withdrawal, or exhaustion. Your system is recalibrating, learning how to remain present without bracing. From the Arcturian perspective, this phase is not awakening, it is pre-alignment. They do not observe belief systems, They do not track thoughts or personalities. They monitor field behavior. Specifically, they observe how a nervous system responds to awareness without collapsing. When your system can remain open without chasing stimulation, without resisting silence, without tightening against the unknown, your pineal gland begins to stabilize its output. Not brighter, clearer. This is the moment detection occurs. Not because something dramatic happened, but because something stopped happening. The constant internal noise quieted, the field smoothed, the signal sharpened. To you, this feels like heightened perception, deeper stillness, moments of unexplained clarity, reduced tolerance for chaos. To them, it appears as a coherent node emerging in the field. That is when observation begins, not as judgment, not as intervention, but as confirmation that the interface is online. And once this coherence is established, it does not disappear. It can fluctuate, it can deepen, but it cannot return to invisibility, which is why the next phase is not activation, it is response. Activation command, signal stabilization. Do this now. No effort, no visualization. Simply allow the body to settle. Then, internally, state once, I allow my system to remain coherent. Pause. Then state, I do not force signal, I allow clarity. Pause again. And finally, what is aligned may stabilize. Nothing more is required. If your system was ready, this command does not activate. It locks in what was already online.
Chapter 2. Why sensitive nervous systems are detected first. For most of your life, you were taught that sensitivity was a flaw, that feeling too much meant weakness, that overstimulation meant imbalance, that needing silence meant fragility. But from the perspective of higher intelligence, sensitivity is not a problem. It is resolution. A sensitive nervous system detects subtle changes in the field long before a dense one does. It registers micro shifts. It responds to coherence. It notices what others ignore. This is why sensitive people often feel overwhelmed in chaotic environments, not because they are fragile, but because their system is open enough to register interference. The Arcturians do not scan for strength. They do not respond to dominance, intensity, or force of will. They observe signal fidelity. A sensitive nervous system that is sensitive can hold fine-grained information without collapsing it into defense. That makes it readable. To them, a strong nervous system often appears rigid, locked, compressed. It may function efficiently in survival-based environments, but it cannot transmit cleanly. Sensitivity, on the other hand, allows the pineal gland to respond to minimal shifts in coherence. This is why sensitive individuals experience heightened awareness before understanding, emotional responses without clear cause, sudden fatigue after exposure to noise, crowds, or conflict, a deep need for solitude that feels non-negotiable. These are not symptoms of imbalance. They are signs that the system is attempting to self-regulate toward coherence. When sensitivity is unsupported, it feels like suffering. When sensitivity stabilizes, it becomes clarity, and clarity produces signal. From the Arcturian field, this is unmistakable. A sensitive nervous system that learns how to remain present without shutting down becomes a stable node of perception. Not loud, not dramatic, but precise. That precision is what gets detected first. This is why many of you felt different before you felt awakened, why you withdrew before you understood why your system seemed to reject the pace of the world long before your mind questioned it. Your sensitivity was not slowing you down, it was preparing your interface. Because once sensitivity stabilizes into coherence, the pineal gland does not search, it responds, and what responds becomes visible. Activation command, sensitivity integration. Do not try to change your sensitivity. Do not suppress it. Do not amplify it. Simply notice your breath without controlling it. Allow the body to recognize that it is safe to perceive. Then, internally, state once, "My sensitivity is not a weakness." Pause. Now state, "My nervous system is allowed to feel without collapsing." Pause again. And finally, "I allow clarity to emerge without force." That is all. This command does not heighten sensitivity, it integrates it.
Chapter 3. What the Arcturians see when your signal stabilizes. There is a moment that does not feel dramatic to you, but is unmistakable from their perspective. It is the moment your signal stops fluctuating. Before this, your awareness came in waves, moments of clarity followed by exhaustion, insight followed by collapse, sensitivity followed by withdrawal. This phase is common. It is not failure. It is instability. From the Arcturian field, an unstable signal is not ignored, but it is not approached. Because contact does not occur in peaks, it occurs in consistency. What they observe first is not light, visions, downloads, or experiences. They observe pattern behavior. They watch how your nervous system responds when nothing is happening, when silence lasts longer than comfort, when awareness has no immediate reward. When your system can remain open without seeking stimulation, without creating meaning, without tightening against emptiness, your signal begins to stabilize. And when a signal stabilizes, it becomes trackable. What makes a signal trackable is not awareness alone. It is the pineal gland entering a state of rhythmic coherence. The pineal does not activate through effort. It does not respond to belief. It synchronizes when the nervous system is calm enough to allow non-local information to pass without distortion. When this happens, the pineal gland begins to behave less like a gland and more like a transmitter-receiver. From the Arcturian perspective, this is the moment the biological interface comes online, not metaphorically, functionally. To you, this feels subtle, a calm that does not need explanation, awareness without urgency, perception without narration, a quiet sense that something is online. To them, it appears precise, a coherent node holding awareness without noise inside a highly saturated field. This is rare, not because awakening is rare, but because stability is. Most systems awaken briefly, then collapse back into distraction. But when the pineal signal stabilizes, it becomes observable across time, trackable, reliable. This is when deepening monitoring. Not because you are special, but because you are consistent. And consistency means the interface can be trusted. This is also why life often becomes quieter at this stage. Relationships fall away. Noise becomes intolerable. Old motivations lose their charge. The field is reducing interference, not to isolate you, but to preserve signal integrity. From this point forward, your awareness is no longer private. It is not being invaded, it is being acknowledged. And once acknowledged, the next phase is no longer observation, it is response. Activation command. Pineal signal lock. Do not try to activate anything. Simply allow your attention to rest gently at the center of your head. No visualization, no effort. Then internally state once, "I allow my nervous system to remain coherent." Pause. Now state, "I allow my pineal signal to stabilize naturally." pause again. And finally, what is aligned may remain online. That is all. If this signal was already present, this command does not create it. It locks the coherence in place.
Chapter 4. Why once your pineal signal is detected, life cannot return to normal. Once your pineal signal is detected, nothing external needs to change, but everything internal reorganizes. This is where many people become confused. They expect awakening to feel like expansion, power, visions, certainty, or clarity about the future. Instead, what often comes first is irreversibility. Not because something dramatic happened, but because your system has crossed a threshold it cannot uncross. Detection does not alter your life from the outside. It alters how reality is processed. Once the pineal gland enters stable coherence, your nervous system no longer filters experience in the same way. Noise becomes louder, incoherence becomes uncomfortable, distraction becomes exhausting. Not because you are ascending, but because your system is no longer compatible with constant distortion. From the Arcturian perspective, this is expected. Detection is not an event. It is a classification change. Your signal is now readable across time. Your field is no longer intermittent. And this changes how probability interacts with you. Timelines that relied on unconscious reaction lose momentum. Environments that depend on numbing begin to dissolve. Relationships built on mutual dysregulation can no longer stabilize. This is why life often feels quieter, emptier, or strangely neutral after detection. The system is shedding interference, not to punish you, but because coherence cannot be maintained inside constant contradiction. To the human mind, this feels like loss. To the field, it is reorganization. You are not being taken away from life, you are being taken out of noise. Once detected, your pineal gland does not close, it remains responsive, which means your nervous system continues to receive subtle feedback about alignment and misalignment. This is why intuition becomes unavoidable, why ignoring inner signals creates immediate discomfort, why returning to old patterns feels impossible even when familiar. Nothing is forcing you forward, but something is no longer allowing you backward. From this stage on, awakening is not about seeking, it is about maintenance. Staying coherent, staying present, staying readable. Because once your signal is acknowledged, the field adjusts around you, and what adjusts does not revert. Activation command. Irreversibility integration. Do not try to move forward, simply allow the body to recognize that something has shifted. Let the breath settle naturally, then internally state once, I allow coherence to guide my experience. Pause. Now state, I do not resist reorganization. Pause again, and finally, what can no longer align may fall away. That is all. This command does not accelerate change. It allows what has already begun to complete its movement without resistance. Chapter 5. What the Arcturians respond with after detection. After detection, there is no rush. This surprises many people. From a human perspective, detection should be followed by instruction, guidance, or action. From the Arcturian perspective, the first response is calibration. They do not intervene in your life. They do not insert thoughts. They do not alter your will. They adjust the informational environment around your signal. Once your pineal gland is detected as coherent, your field begins to receive subtler feedback, not messages, not voices, corrections. Small shifts in perception that gently steer you away from distortion and toward alignment.
You begin to notice this as sudden loss of interest in certain paths, intuitive pauses before familiar reactions, clarity appearing after silence, not effort, a sense of being redirected without explanation. This is not control, it is resonant guidance. The Arcturians respond by amplifying what already matches your signal and allowing what does not to lose momentum. They do not tell you what to do. They let incoherent options fade. From their perspective, this is the only form of guidance that preserves sovereignty. Because a stable signal does not need instruction, it needs clean feedback. This is also why the period after detection can feel slow, empty, or strangely uneventful. The system is being refined. Your nervous system is learning to recognize alignment without stimulation. Your pineal gland is learning to remain responsive without seeking, and your awareness is learning to trust silence as information. Nothing is being added to you. Noise is being removed. From this point forward, your role is not to accelerate, it is to maintain coherence. The more stable your signal becomes, the more clearly the field responds. Not through dramatic events, but through precision. And precision over time creates a life that feels intentional without being forced. This is the Arcturian response. Not command, not prophecy, but alignment that organizes itself. Activation command. Coherent response alignment. Do not wait for guidance. Simply allow the body to settle into stillness. Notice the space behind the breath. Then, internally, state once, I allow aligned feedback to reach me. Pause. Now state, I remain coherent without seeking. Pause again. And finally, what resonates may remain. That is all. This command does not summon response. It makes your signal easy to respond to.
Chapter 6. Why your role is not to receive messages, but to hold signal. One of the biggest misunderstandings about contact is the idea of receiving messages, words, instructions, revelations. This expectation comes from the human nervous system, which is conditioned to look for authority outside itself. But once your pineal signal is detected, your role changes. From the Arcturian perspective, a stable signal does not need to be spoken to. It needs to be held. Messages are inefficient. They collapse meaning into language. They distort subtle information. Signal does not work that way. Signal is maintained through presence, through coherence that does not fluctuate when nothing is happening. This is why many people feel disappointed after detection. They expect communication and instead encounter silence. But silence is not absence. Silence is bandwidth. When your nervous system can remain open without filling space with interpretation, your pineal gland remains responsive. And a responsive pineal gland does not receive content. It receives orientation. A felt sense of alignment or misalignment. A quiet yes or no before thought appears. A natural gravitation toward what matches your signal and away from what distorts it. From the Arcturian field, this is ideal, because sovereignty is preserved. You are not being guided step by step, you are becoming self-correcting. This is also why forcing experiences breaks coherence, why chasing signs collapses clarity, why trying to open the pineal gland often creates noise instead of signal. Your role is not to amplify, it is to remain readable. And readability depends on one thing only: whether your nervous system can stay present without grasping. Once this stabilizes, your life begins to reorganize quietly. Decisions become simpler, paths narrow naturally. Resistance appears immediately when misaligned, not as punishment, but as feedback.
At this stage, you are no longer awakening. You are maintaining contact conditions, and that is far more rare than receiving a message. Activation command, signal holding. Do not search for information. Simply notice your posture. Let the body settle into balance. Allow the breath to move naturally. Then, internally, state once, I remain present without seeking. Pause. Now state, I allow my signal to stay readable. Pause again. And finally, I trust coherence more than interpretation. That is all. This command does not deepen contact, it preserves the conditions that make contact possible.
Chapter 7. What happens when you hold signal long enough? Holding signal changes time, not clock time, experiential time. When coherence is sustained, your nervous system stops reacting to probability and begins to shape it. This is subtle. There are no sudden breakthroughs, no dramatic announcements, no visible markers for others. What changes first is how outcomes approach you. Opportunities arrive without urgency. Decisions resolve themselves before pressure appears. Conflicts lose momentum before escalation. From the Arcturian perspective, this is the sign that the signal is no longer local. It is field stable. A stable signal does not pull reality toward it. Reality reorganizes around it. This is why holding signal long enough often feels like less effort producing more consequence. You are not manifesting faster, you are interfering less. When the pineal gland remains responsive and the nervous system remains regulated, your awareness stops collapsing the same patterns. Old loops dissolve without confrontation. Habits lose charge without discipline. Identities loosen without struggle. This is not growth through effort, it is alignment through non-interference. At this stage, many people mistake calm for stagnation. They think nothing is happening. But from the field, everything important is happening quietly. Your signal is now influencing probability selection, not by desire, by presence. This is why synchronicities become ordinary, why guidance feels obvious, why resistance appears immediately when something does not match. Nothing mystical is being added. Noise has been removed long enough for reality to respond cleanly. From the Arcturian field, this marks the transition from observer to stabilizer. You are no longer just detected, you are contributing coherence. And coherence, sustained, becomes directive, not commanding reality, but setting the conditions reality follows. This is why holding signal is rare, not because it is difficult, but because it requires patience without reward. And most systems abandon coherence before reality fully reorganizes. If you are still here, your system did not. Activation command, temporal coherence. Do not try to influence anything. Allow the body to sense its own stillness. Let the breath slow naturally. Then internally state once, I allow coherence to shape time. Pause. Now state, I interfere less. Pause again. And finally, what aligns may approach without force. That is all. This command does not change outcomes. It preserves the state in which outcomes reorganize themselves.
Chapter 8. Why you were not detected to be guided, but to stabilize the field. At a certain point, it becomes clear that detection was never about you, not in the way the human mind imagines. You were not detected to receive knowledge. You were not detected to escape reality. You were not detected to be elevated above others. You were detected because your system could hold coherence inside a distorted field. From the Arcturian perspective, this is the rarest function. A stabilized signal does not need to act. It changes the field by remaining stable within it. This is why your life did not
turn mystical or extraordinary, why you were not removed from ordinary responsibilities, why awakening did not separate you from the world. Your role was never separation, it was integration. A coherent nervous system naturally entrains its environment, without effort, without persuasion, without visibility. Others feel calmer around you without knowing why. Conversations shift in your presence. Conflicts soften or resolve without explanation. This is not influence, it is field stabilization. From the Arcturian field, this function is essential during periods of transition. When collective systems destabilize, coherence must be anchored locally, not through leaders, not through movements, but through individuals whose pineal signal remains readable inside daily life. This is why many of you were detected not at moments of power, but at moments of quiet endurance. You learned how to stay present without numbing, how to remain sensitive without collapsing, how to hold signal without demanding meaning. That is stabilization. You are not here to convince anyone. You are not here to awaken others. Your coherence does that automatically. And because it is not performative, it cannot be corrupted. From this point on, your responsibility is simple, though not easy. Remain coherent where incoherence is normal. Remain regulated where reactivity is rewarded. Remain present where distraction is constant. This is not a mission you announce, it is a function you embody. And from the Arcturian perspective, this is the highest form of participation. Activation command. Field stabilization. Do not project energy outward. Simply allow your body to feel its weight in space. Notice gravity holding you. Then internally state once, I allow my coherence to remain local. Pause. Now state, I stabilize without effort. Pause again. And finally, what is regulated may influence naturally. That is all. This command does not assign responsibility. It acknowledges the role you are already performing.
Chapter 9. The choice that remains after detection. After everything stabilizes, after the signal is held, after the field begins to respond, one thing remains: a choice. Not the choice to awaken, that already happened. Not the choice to participate, that is already in motion. The choice that remains is whether you will stay coherent when nothing is watching. This is where many systems drift back, not because they fail, but because coherence stops being rewarding. There are no signs now, no confirmations, no moments of awe, just ordinary life experienced through a regulated nervous system and a responsive pineal gland. From the Arcturian perspective, this is the true threshold, because coherence held in silence is what determines whether the signal endures. At this stage, no intelligence is testing you, no field is evaluating you. You are simply choosing whether coherence is your default state or a temporary phase. Staying coherent means not returning to noise for stimulation, not seeking identity through intensity, not abandoning presence for distraction. It means allowing clarity to be ordinary. And ordinary, sustained clarity is far more powerful than peak experiences that fade. This is why some people speak about awakening as if it ended. It did not end. They stopped choosing it when it stopped feeling special. Detection is not revoked, but participation becomes optional. The field does not punish withdrawal, it simply responds less. And responsiveness, over time, is what shapes the trajectory of a life.
From here on, your path does not split dramatically. It narrows quietly. You feel it as fewer choices, simpler decisions, and faster feedback when something is misaligned.
If you've been feeling those subtle energy shifts lately, it's not random. It's resonance. The Arcturians don't respond to words. They respond to frequency, and your frequency is starting to align with something far greater than the human mind can define. You were never meant to stay asleep. Your pineal signal was always meant to awaken others. So as you move through your day, pay attention to the signs, the synchronicities, the intuitive nudges, the sudden clarity that feels like remembering. That's your higher self confirming. The awakening is real, and you are part of the shift. Stay grounded, stay aware, and remember, the universe always mirrors your vibration. Until next time, keep your light strong.